and all through the town. Hi, everybody. Hello. This is the Hybrifish. My name is Patrick, and welcome. Excuse me. I'm interested in doing a little experiment. Well, I just want to see what comes out. So this will be a no context, take it as a resonance reading. And there's a very specific card I'm going to look for. I'm going to give this a few shuffles. I'm going to see what comes before and after that card. And then I'm going to use SKT to see what comes before and after with a similar energy. I'm listening to my Peaceful Meditations playlist right now. Oh, wow. Y'all can see my leg. That's a lot. Since when do I have so much space here? Hold up, y'all. I don't need to see all that. I mean, y'all can still see my leg. I mean, not that it matters. I'm working with limited space for the time being, okay? I will be moving here fairly shortly, and that's really exciting. And it's just time. It's time for me to see, and then that's all of this. I feel like it's never been this wide before. I feel like it's never been this wide. But that's fine. It's fine. We'll make do. And I'm excited about that because coming home was not a long-term plan. A lot of things, I'm sure, in the world weren't long-term plans. But it's just that time. And I've been talking about the pivot and the modify. The reason why I felt like I was waiting. And I don't know if it's necessarily the pivot, but the timing definitely feels right. So I'm about to start putting like actual effort into that. And part of it is kind of sort of deciding where I want to go. You know? So there we go. Man, that's a decent-ish shuffle. Oh, I did want to borrow the Year of the Collective though, so that's why I'm doing it live. Instead of just doing it like to myself. You know? Okay. Now this is going to take a little bit of a second because I got to shuffle both of these. Also, I've been like obsessed with bagels lately. By lately, I mean since like yesterday. They're just so good. I've already had 2 today. I want to have another one. I'm not a huge fan of cream cheese, but I got some pepper jack cheese sticks, and if I microwave it for 25 seconds, it actually spreads kind of interestingly. I love pepper jack because it's like spicy cheese. Hold up. Okay, so 3 in the 5 of wands. By the way, like apparently Benabelle's made it through the 3s, and she has all the majors done. The aces, the 2s, and 3s. So she might be done with that deck here fairly soon. And I'm like, oh snap, bet. Let me start saving up some pinnacles so I can pre-order that thing because I don't want to miss out. So I have 2 editions of the SKT, and that would be so fine. Excuse me. All right. The Conservator and the Priestess. The Conservator and the Priestess came out, which is interesting. That's Cancerian and Capricornian energy through the moon. Ah, look! And that's the sun in Capricorn. The moon with the sun in Capricorn. There we go. If I can ever figure this out. It's like I've been doing this for long enough. I should. Bottom of the deck is the Lovers. Well, I should have it figured out by now. Cutting to the 6 of Wands with the Lovers. That's 2 6s. 6 plus 6 is 12, which is a 3, and 3 plus 3 is 6. Okay. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Nah. Okay. Yeah. There we go. So the card that I'm looking for, it starts with Blip of Light and oh, it's literally right here. Huh. As soon as I decided to turn the deck right side up so I could read it more easily. So we're going to have the 10 of Hearts on the left and the 4 of Clubs on the right. So I'm going to be looking for the 10 of Cups and the 4 of Wands. Now, I would have been excited if I got like 2. Oh, look! And then 2 7s came out before that. And we just had 2 6s, 77. The 7 of Diamonds and the 7 of Clubs. So let's go. We're looking for the 10 of Cups and the 4 of Wands. Page of Cups with the 10 of Cups. Oh, snap, at the bottom of the deck. Well, look, there's the 10 of Cups I was looking for. The Page of Cups and the Star is coming out on this side. I think I'm liking this energy, but I don't know if this is necessarily going to give me what I was looking for, which is fine. Because again, it's no context, take it as it resonates. And we'll just see what comes out. Also, gingerella is a thing. Excuse me. It does make me really burpy though, so. And I'm looking for the 4 months. It's a thing because, I don't know. I've been drinking a lot of water. I wanted something carbonated, and it's one of the few carbonated beverages that doesn't upset the apparently sensitive new balance that my body is trying to create. 7 of Swords with the 7 of Wands. We see 7 7 again. Okay, okay. Oh, also, I've been seeing like an audio book of The Alchemist just sort of on, excuse me, YouTube. And I finally decided to watch it just because I know that it's like a book that people sort of like, you know, talk about. And I just wanted to know what it was about. So I listened to like the last half hour. Or I listened to a little bit of the beginning. I was like, what is this? This is not what I was expecting. And so then I went closer to the end and I ended up listening to the last bit of the book. If that tells you anything about me. Like, I'm also the type of person, I'll be like, there's this movie that I'm really interested in. Let me go to Wikipedia and read the entire plot of the movie. Most of the time it's for horror movies because I just want to know what they're about and I don't want to get scared, but then I get scared reading the plot sometimes. Or I used to get scared reading the plot. But every now and then I read the plot to a really, really, really good movie that I kind of wish I could have experienced firsthand. But, you know, by that point it's too late. Oh. So the Emperor, the Hierophant, and New World Order all came up together. And I love New World Order when it comes to the Holy See energy in this deck, because the Holy See energy is one of, honestly, more so limitation than anything else. Looking for the 4 of Wands. Looking for the 4 of Wands. The 3 and the 4 of Pentacles. Looking for the 4 of Wands. Wands. The Sun and the Empress are together. Oh, snap. Is that 2 3s? No, that's a 1 and a 3. Death, the Tower, Ace of Pentacles. The Lover with the Archangel. Oh, now this is interesting though. So the Lovers the lovers are the card of the lovers is coming out in between the king and the queen of cups, the archangel of healing and the ivory shield. That's really interesting. Still looking for the four of wands. Oh, I found it. The high priestess and the hermit are together, which is also interesting. And then that's the two eyes of God in the majors as well. So wait, I need this one. Oh, so we have the Vagabond, Five of Pentacles, the Hermit, and the Four of Wands. Oh, all of that solitary energy. But it's so beautiful on this side. I guess it ain't gonna be all gorgeous. Again, I don't know if this is necessarily gonna get me where I want it to go, but so the last, oh, this is interesting. So for the last 6 cards, we have the Hollow Void with the Golden Shield. Just in general, that in the past could have been us kind of sort of knowing that certain endeavors wouldn't get us whatever we thought we were going to get from it, but we went after it anyway. Maybe a more baser, more carnal desire, only to find out that it still left us a little bit hollow. We have the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Cups together, which is clarity, truth, and a deepening of connection, or the ability to connect. And then the Initiate and the Keeper are also coming out together. And these are 2 fools in this deck. We got the Fresh Fool, and then we have the Awakened and Enlightened Fool, who has been through the major arcana at least once, but maybe twice or 3 times. And so, like, she knows her way around the block. She knows the energies. The fool that she is for play, not for real. So let's look into this. So I'll read the card in its entirety. It's actually the 9 of Hearts, a blip of light at the heart of a black hole, and progenitors and a primordial pool. Progenitors and a primordial pool, sorry. 67, 18, 7, 2, 1, and 2 are the numbers. 212 is interesting because I think Cancer and Leo got a 252 or a 525. So the card that was before it is, oh, hold up. This is another card with a typo. Because I don't know what this is supposed to be. What? Hold up. I'm gonna have to consult the document really quickly. It's a good thing I'm on my computer. Because I'm like, wait, hold up. What the is this? Here we go. Work. And this is the 9 of the purple. Right? Okay, it's the other one. Gold, yeah, it's the gold 9. Oh. Okay. Oh wow, that typoed me up for real. Next time I do something like this, I am just gonna have to be patient and not try to be so quick to be done and over it. Cause this one usually I can get what I was going for, but this one I'm like completely lost. This is interesting though. Oh, ooh, okay. So these may not necessarily be giving me the assistance that I want. What's the message of this? Page of Cups. I will eat you. Oh, there. Oh, well, it would have been the 7 of Wands, but oh, there we go. Oh, 2. With the Lovers again. Y'all see that? The Lovers keep coming out. The Lovers and the Dark Horse. And it would have been that 7 of Wands that came out, but it flipped back over before I finished shuffling it up. And the Archangel of Healing is still behind this Lovers card. So the Ivory Shield may have come out. because the Ivory Shield was with the King of Cups and Lovers. But we'll see. I'm itching both of these too. We itching at everything today. I'm gonna look at the Lenormands. I'm gonna even look at the playing correspondences. I'm gonna look at it. I am. Not might even. I am. If I can find it, because I think I accidentally closed the window, which is kind of tragic. So the card that I went looking for, again, is the Nine of Hearts. The Nine of Hearts is a blip of light at the heart of a black hole, progenitors, and a primordial pool. The card before that was a stargate that leads to fantastic places, correcting what has been misused, and stabilizing timelines. And then the card after it was understanding the unseen, grasping the subtle, and a sacred vessel. The numbers on the first one are looks like 97, 7, 11, 4, 6, and 2. I'll say looks like because they're cut off. Hey, look, there's another 7, 7. We had that. We saw that. And then on the other one, it's 56, 10, 6, 7, 3, and 2. For anybody into numbers, we could add all of these up, but we're not gonna. I actually love this because this is okay. So we have a blip of light at the heart of a black hole again. Progenitors and a primordial pool. Now the energy of progenitors and a primordial pool it's just that which predates everything. And when you have a divine sense of knowing, you could know that, asteroid or meteor hitting a planet carrying whatever will evolve into this, and then it'll evolve into that, and then this and that and the other, and then like millions of years later or whatever, according to some narratives and stories, we get humans, right? We get life on Earth. Because it's also about understanding the seasons and cycles of the planet itself, right? It isn't necessarily just about creating that life, but also knowing what the environment will be like. And life adapts to the environment because if it doesn't, it dies. But still, it's that energy. Like the first ancestor. That which predates all. And not like all, but a localized all, right? And then over here we get stargates and timelines, and on the other side, the unseen and the subtle, and a sacred vessel. Okay, so let's just get into this. We may read this as two separate things. This is a lot, and I guess I should have known that it would be. This is a little more than I bargained for. So, for the Stargate that leads to fantastic places and correcting what has been misused, we have the Star and the Page of Cups. Now, the star energy for a Stargate is amazing, and it's like that little star that she got on her head could be like the portal. That could be the Stargate. Also, she got those two cups that she's like pouring into the water. It could be like a wormhole or something like that, where you go in this one cup and you end up on the other side. Make my little sound effect. But with the Page of Cups, and that was the thing about The Alchemist, or that's the part that I listened to at least. It was about following one's heart. Some other stuff. But primarily following your heart and trusting the signs was the gist of what I got from that. trusting the signs is the piece of the divine and how they communicate with you. Following your heart is what we are responsible for. But before we can follow the heart, first we must heal our hearts. Right? Because if your heart is broken or unhealed, it's probably going to lead you down the same dark corners, alleys, and corridors as it always does. So now I'm going to look at the I Ching for this. And then we'll look and see what the message is. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to look up the Lenormand and the playing card correspondences. Man, I really wish I could find that. Wait, do I have a history? Do I have history on this phone? We got too much stuff. All you want to do is with me. Because we got too much stuff to wake up in my bed with you lying next to me. With you lying next to me. With you lying next to me. It was after that. Because we got too much history. Or maybe it was before this. We've got too much. Oh yeah, also I made fried mushrooms the other day in the air fryer. That was interesting because I never thought, number one, I'd be eating mushrooms, and number two, I'd be looking up how to fry them in an air fryer. They were decent. If I had to make them again, I probably wouldn't like rinse them so heavy with water because they hold a lot of water already. Also, I'm super excited because yesterday, one of my half birthday presents was this Pam Superior No Stick cooking spray, olive oil, extra virgin. So now I have some extra virgin olive oil spray. So hopefully when I fry things in the air fryer, they can be a little like, crispier. Okay, I think we're getting close. There's only water, there's only fire. No, it's only love. It's only slaughter, we're only lions. It's only blood. You're not mine. You're not mine. You're not mine. To keep. You're not mine. You're not mine. You're not mine. To keep. I don't know why this is taking so long. I can't find it. Well, that's on my freaking laptop. And I keep saying this thing. I keep seeing the same things over and over. Every time I open up Google Chrome on my phone, I get the same, like, y'all gotta refresh my tabs every time or something. Oh, I gotta be getting closer, though. I wish I could pull up the date, but it's fine. Oh, it was definitely before this. Well, looks like I'll be just looking it up again. Could have just saved myself time and did that the first time. But that's fine. No complaints. No more complaints. Oops. Oh, that's because I think I looked it up for that one. Because I Googled, like, I think I told Siri to look it up, actually. So Maybe it's on Safari and yeah, because I'm like, wait, why would I? Yeah, here it is right here. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have just like completely exited out of that valuable resource. So we're going to be looking at the 10 of hearts. Is this it right here? Oh, look. Oh my gosh, the 10 of hearts is literally right here. It was already on the same page. Okay, so the 10 of hearts is the group of alchemy. And I was talking about, listening to the alchemist. Interesting synchronicities. This card represents a new cycle full of promise, happiness, and profound joy. It can also portend good news. The letter here is E. The interpretation is mobility, curiosity, and change. The floral arrangement is violet. Oh, hold on. Excuse me. Oh, wow. I don't know when the last time I sneezed was. And I don't know why I just got like a fierce tickle in my nose. Oh, I was supposed to mute. Sorry. Hopefully, hopefully it wasn't too loud. Ooh. I'm trying to wipe my nose expertly, and I am being successful. I am finding success. Okay. Yeah, I don't know where that sneeze just randomly came from. Hello. Back in the day when like readers would be like, "Oh, my nose is getting itchy," and I was like, "Oh snap! What does that mean?" Now sometimes I'd be like, "This is too much. Y'all need to calm down." Okay, so violet, mock orange, and May rose is the floral arrangement. The interpretation of that is don't waste your moments of happiness by being too nostalgic. Even if you're in a state of mind, cast away your sad thoughts and force yourself to change. So that to me is talking about creating new happy moments moving forward instead of dwelling on. I'm looking for my phone with my phone in my hand. Instead of dwelling on the past, right? Love that energy. Uh, Next is so the large subject here is the alchemist, arms crossed, considers the whiteness crowning the matter. Interpretation of that is this card represents a very young woman because the whiteness is synonymous with the feminine, but it can also represent a young man with plans about to hatch. It can also highlight an emerging love affair. Now, I would think that the darkness is symbolic of the feminine because it's void receptive, but hey, who am I to argue with the alchemist? So, see, the cup, the crater is a constellation. It represents new possibilities. Overall interpretation is like the alchemist who contemplates his work, you will become one of the people that others admire. Know how to take a step back from the situation and keep a cool head. Don't fall for an exaggerated admiration from another person. Okay, that was a whole bunch of extra stuff, and we're just gonna cut that out. I should have just went to the Lenormand like I started to, but again, maybe something was in there. It wasn't a complete waste, right? Because we did get the alchemist synchronicity, or I did, at the very least. Don't ask me for a link; just search it on YouTube. Ten of Hearts and Lenormand is the dog, which is about loyalty, friendship, a follower, devotion, obedience, support, positive, and long lasting. Okay, so we get the dog. That's cute. I was going to read the I Ching, I forgot. So there's a loyalty here, which is really cute. Also, this card was about like stargates or something. A stargate that leads to fantastic places. And so again, when I was talking about following a broken heart and it leading you to the same sort of dark corners of the same dark alleys with the same shady characters and the same seedy situations. It's like it's time to cut that out, and it's really time to stabilize this new timeline coming in, stabilizing the new timeline coming in, just being the space of continuing to make self-honoring decisions and choices, and not doing the things that you already know that you don't want to do. Hello? It ain't that hard. Sorry. Sorry. That was unnecessary. So we're going to be looking at Wind Over the Lake. Ooh, that's why I'm easy like Sunday morning. Wind Over the Lake is number 61, Faith Within. I love this. So have faith in yourself, in spirits, that you are guided on the right path. Allow yourself to evolve in faith and in spirit. Tighten those lines of communication. Faith within and a heart open to truth. This is Zhong Fu. Zhong Fu. Zhong Fu. A sage deliberates on the transgression of humankind. Ooh. A sage deliberates on the transgressions of humankind, yet delays in judgment of others. Do not rush to punish. Gain a deep understanding of why the transgressor acted. To be superior in strength is to show mildness in punishment. Fellowship is not in itself noble. Thieves and bandits have fellowship, but such bonds can be broken. Faith is more important for peace and solidarity. There is a certain affinity between the oracle and you. Petition to the gods. Is that what the I Ching is saying we should be doing, or is that what the I Ching is saying this is? I mean, ultimately, that can be taken as, if this is about healing the heart, then it's about letting the people who have transgressed against you go. We all have stories and we all have things that happen to us, and we all have reasons why and how we became who we are or who we were in the past. And it's almost the energy of like, for you to seek forgiveness, you must also forgive those who have hurt you, harmed you, or come against you. Now, forgiving someone and like letting somebody back into your life aren't necessarily the same thing. I would say forgiveness is letting that person go of the responsibility that they have over your current life and situation. Right? And a lot of times we sort of experience things that we don't like with people, but we kind of, in some ways, continue to put them in power over us because of how they impacted and affected us. And again, like, if we allow that person to continue to, if we allow those impacts to continue to poison our hearts to the point where we're sacrificing our own happiness and we're not pursuing those things moving forward, where we're not taking advantage of these stargates that lead to amazing and wonderful places, right? If you just get shown the vision and then you're like, oh, that's enough for me, I'll go back to my misery, thanks. Then it's almost like that person still has some rulership over you, even if they don't, right? Even if they've moved on, or even if you claim to have moved on. And that's, I mean, the healer is here for a reason. Now, we'll see if the Archangel of Healing came out. And she did not. Wow, the Archangel of Healing really didn't come out. I thought we might have gotten her since we saw the Lovers. And no, I thought the Ivory Shield was going to come out since we saw the Lovers and the Archangel of Healing. But we got the Six of Wands and the Moon card coming from this page of Cups. And I think that's just Spirit being like, you don't even know how many victories and battles you have won already, how many situations that you've already sort of eliminated before you even like fully knew that it was a situation because of the healing that you've already done. It's like when you heal the things in the dark, you don't see their friends. And like not only is spirit protecting you from things that you don't even know that spirit is protecting you from, but also in the same time, it's like you are playing an active role in that because of the elevation that you've done on your part. And there are like these things and these victories that you wouldn't even be able to sort of recognize within yourself because it's like you don't know. It never happened, right? And so it's like when you stabilize this timeline, there are these other timelines of these other situations that could have gone way south or left or to the left, you know, or like weird. These timelines that you don't even experience in this reality, again, because you've elevated yourself outside of that realm of possibility. So be proud of yourself, even if there's more stuff that you want to heal, right? If you've done something that's worth being proud of. So the message is double thunder. Ooh, that sounds explosive. Double thunder is number 51, sharp turn. Right? You hit that thing to the left real quick. Spirit was like, turn left. He said, all right, Spirit, I ain't even gonna ask why. I'll wait until we navigate out of this situation, and then I might be like, hey, Spirit, what would have happened if I had stayed in that situation? Spirit's like, you don't want to know. Let's just say that you made the right choice. Unexpected sharp turn in a great thunderstorm. This is Jen, and this is the year of the Blue Lunar Storm. The shock of fate has hit you. Circumstances seem beyond your control. In the wake of cataclysm, your will is weakened. You cannot allow that to happen. While you cannot control the circumstances, you can control your mental response. While you cannot control the circumstances, you can control your mental response. Learn to maintain your composure in the face of cataclysm. Do not be terrified by the thunder and lightning. The outcome is not as bad as you dreaded. Regain your inner strength. You must persist onward in your endeavor, in spite of blows. In time, you will fully recover what you have lost. It is still auspicious to go forth on your endeavor. And I love that energy. Also, maybe this is saying pray for humanity. If you ain't praying for humanity, you might want to start. I'm gonna start. I mean, I got faith. I believe that eventually we're gonna figure this out like soon. Because if we don't really have too many options. It seems like it's like if you apply enough pressure, eventually something's break, right? So that's the message. That's also the message that she's bringing, right? And I would say that's just to honestly, it's to follow your intuition. Know that, in this time you may be getting a little beat up. You may be a little sort of lost in the chaos. But honestly, what this is teaching you right now is like in the midst of all of this unknown, is teaching you how to stand and still be prosperous and how to have an unwavering, unquestioning faith. Right. But also what we should be learning is how to be directed in these times when things are so uncertain and how to move. Right. And it's like if we are moving of our own accord, that's when sometimes we can run into issues. And like the other I Ching said, sometimes not moving is movement. Sometimes being still is movement, especially if that's what the divine is telling you to do. And, it may be a little bit of like, oh, I can't just do nothing because I got to be doing something. And the divine, like, why? And you're like, because, and the divine's like, well, if we are the principal or the teacher or the lawmakers, and we tell you to do this directly, then, a direct order supersedes other sort of standard protocols. But again, there's a certain amount of healing that needs to be done within the self, and also a certain amount of trust that you have to sort of begin to establish. And that was another thing about this when it comes to, more or less forgiving those who trespass against you. For when it comes to maybe looking at the reasons why the transgressor acted the way that they did. Now, I will be the first person to tell you that just because you can understand why someone did what they did is not an automatic excuse. Because my life ain't perfect, but I ain't running around here like, doing these major transgressions against other people. A whole bunch of people ain't. There's a whole, like, life comes with challenge and difficulty for everybody. And some people are like, oh, this or that, and it's a valid excuse. It's like, no, no. Like, it is, because it got somebody to this point. But at the end of the day, something within you should be like, you know what? No, I ain't even gonna do this. I'm gonna just walk away. Now, that's easy for me to say as an adult Patrick, because child Patrick had lessons to learn, like we all do. But that's really like, I feel like that's what's actually stabilizing these timelines. Because it's like we've been trying to manifest certain things, but to really live in that space, we need to grow and evolve and change and become a better version of ourselves than we were before. And that's also what this energy is about. This energy is about being more patient, kind, forgiving, and compassionate. This energy is about like almost like a self-integrity, right? Even when people aren't looking, like, what are you doing and what are you about? Also, this energy is about grounding the self and weathering the storm. And it's like, if you can see all of this is necessary to get you to be where it is that you're going, then you can almost imagine what will be required of you. If the divine has been trying to get you to learn a lesson for a really, really, really long time, or whenever you try to manifest a certain thing, then something come up in your life, something comes up that gets you to like, it's like a certain situation or class of situations. And it's like, hey, those lessons may be important when you get wherever you're going. And they kind of sort of do really play off of each other. That's something that I've been discovering in the past month or so. How much everything before plays into what's happening in the now. And then in the now, there's going to be, or in tomorrow, there's going to be something that builds off of today. It's like there is a method to the madness. Just because we can't see it all the time doesn't mean that it's without purpose. And that's this side. Now over here, again, we have understanding the unseen, grasping the subtle, and the sacred vessel. I love that. Primarily because of this erudite hermit energy, like understanding the unseen and grasping the subtle. Like, oh my gosh, the hermit, the erudite. And then a sacred vessel with this vagabond. It's like that could be one of the reasons why you may not have found community in places that don't speak to the level of integrity that you need to have within yourself. And that could be like just you being you. right? If you're the type of person where if around certain people you just like completely change, do a complete 180, and all of a sudden like you're doing and saying things that you don't really want to do or say, but you want to fit in. It's like, it ain't about that, because this is a sacred vessel and we're all vessels for sacred energy. But for that energy to shine within us or for it to fill our cups, then there's just a certain way that we have to conduct ourselves. And it's up to us as individuals to find out what that way is for us, because it's coded and aligned to who you are as an individual, right? The way that I operate isn't going to be the way that everyone else operates, but I operate in the way that I operate because it's what is authentic to me. And it may be a little not high maintenance, but like hypercritical for some folks. But like, if you ain't me, then you ain't really got to worry about it. Just do you and be you. Right? Oh, that was a weak tongue pop. And it's almost like there's like this internal and external isolation. I mean, in the space of the lockdowns all over the world, this could have been what's happening. Could have. I mean, by this point, we all pretty much know that isolation was to get us to connect to ourselves or heal things within us more. If we don't know that, I mean, at some point we'll begin to experience why that was the case. And there's also this energy like, let the divine worry about humanity, is what's like coming into my mind right now. It's like, you worry about you, let the divine worry about humanity. Now, again, if there are like individual people that are of concern, then it's to find compassion and understanding for where they come from. But as like humanity overall, right, you can say a prayer or two or three or four or a million. Not that much. And then like almost kind of sort of going about your business. Unless again, it also depends on what your role in the collective is right now. Because over here, this is about like really diving into the self. And there's this energy of like, because I'm thinking of like a wedding, because the Four of Wands, right? And like saying your vows. But with this hermit energy, it's about discovering, especially in this time when so many are like isolated and in separation. It's like, I bet you see the reason now, don't you? I bet you see it now, don't you? Don't you? Ah. Understanding the unseen, grasping the subtle and the sacred vessel. Understanding the unseen is giving me energy of knowing how things come to be, right? And that's the thought behind things. This is the feeling behind the things. This is the thought behind the things. And the hermit is the energy that claims the mind. The healer is the energy that claims like the heart and the mind and like everything. The hermit is kind of sort of like the mind and the soul. And also, it's like the heart adjacent, but it's mostly through like not compartmentalizing, but like rationalizing and analyzing, right? And then grasping the subtle could be this Five of Pentacles energy. And that comes because it's like when you don't have much to work with, you work with what you got, right? If you don't get these grand signs and it's more like subtle feelings and little synchronicities or confirmations, then you learn to follow that. And the more and more and more subtle the signs get, it's almost like the more open you are to just having an open line of communication. That's another thing. It's like, if spirit goes quiet, it isn't necessarily that spirit is abandoning you. It may be time to find a new way to communicate, right? If you operate primarily off of synchronicity and stuff like that, then it may be time to meditate or pray to calm the mind and to tap into that sort of inner voice and to learn to find that and listen to it. And then lastly is the sacred vessel. And that's what all of this does. It prepares the mind, the soul, the spirit, the heart, the aura, the etheric field, all of that to really align to and welcome up that more divine level of consciousness. And it's interesting because it does almost feel like an empath, but like a TV show empath, right? One of those empaths who lock themselves away in their house because as soon as they step out the door, they hear all of the woes of the world. But I guess the balance to that would be to also don't forget to find the beauty. And it isn't necessarily to like blind yourself or to indoctrinate yourself into illusion, but it's like don't forget the beauty. Because times are what they are, but there are beautiful and magical things still happening in the world, you know. And also, there are some things happening in the world that need to be addressed, that need to be healed, and ignoring them is not the way forward. That's not the solution. It's almost like I was thinking about it earlier. It's almost like with the age of Pisces, we're so used to going to spirit for everything. But with the age of Aquarius, that's us coming into a more aligned consciousness, right? Into a higher level of being, right? It's like people always say, like, it shouldn't have to be a law that you shouldn't murder people and you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. And it's like, yeah, you're right. It shouldn't have to be, but it is. And, people break those laws. So it's not like laws really have anything to do with. And I think maybe that's another age of Pisces construct. It's needing something else to enforce decency within the self, right? Aquarius is ruled by Saturn. So Saturn, to me, it's still like that because you know how Capricorn can be all about integrity. Aquarius is about humanity. And so there is that part of Saturn that is concerned for others and concerned about what our impact is on others, right? It rules earth and air like Mercury. And Capricorn may be like heavily focused on restriction and restricting of the self and, whatever else. It's just about us really getting it within ourselves. Okay? And us becoming the change that we wish to see in the world and not constantly needing to defer outside of ourselves for something, right? It's like we always go to spirit, but spirit lives within us. We got a spirit, we got a soul, we got a spark of, the spark of that creator within us. We shouldn't need anything outside of us to be like, hey, be decent. Hey, care about people. Hey, do this. Hey, do that. Hey, the answer to this is 52. You know, because it's all within us. And the age of Pisces was all about finding it out there and the dreams and something that is detached from reality. But moving forward, it's about embodying that ourselves. And you're still gonna have like, open line of communication with spirit, but it's like the relationship changes. It's almost like how I view my relationship with my mom. When I was pre-18, when I was a child, she was my primary caretaker. She had a lot of control over my life, right? Now, I mean, I'm living in her house for the time being. I'm a visitor here. I'm on extended stay. But now, like, our relationship has completely changed. Like, she doesn't tell me what to do anymore, unless, it's like, hey, Patrick, come take out the trash, or do this or do that. When it comes to me and my decisions in life, she doesn't tell me what to do anymore, but she is there for guidance. She's there for support. She's there to offer her wisdom and her perspective and her opinion. And she knows that, I'm grown and I'm going to make my own decisions at the end of the day. And so it isn't her role to make my decisions for me anymore. And it's almost like that's kind of sort of the evolution that we need to have with spirit. We need to allow spirit to not helicopter parent us. And it's like we kind of sort of have a tendency of treating spirit like a last resort. After we've done everything we want to do, and after we've had all of our fun, and after we've made all of the mistakes that we knew we shouldn't have made in the first place, but we chose to anyway, then it's like we want to run to the magic eraser. And I guess we're kind of sort of seeing what happens when we try to erase things now. If you don't handle it when it comes up, you'll pay for it later. A stitch in time saves 9. But yeah, it's about transitioning to a relationship of support, of encouragement, of guidance, instead of it being like our primary source of a lot of stuff. Because again, it's about allowing that to develop within the self. And it can't develop in self when we're constantly getting it from something or somebody else. It atrophies. It's like a muscle, right? So this isn't necessarily exactly what I was going for, but I guess that's what I get for opening up this to the collective space, because it's whatever the collective needs. The collective needs supersede my own. So we're going to shuffle these up. We're going to get a final message. I didn't even read the I Ching. I didn't even read. Oh, well. Okay, that was almost a synchronicity, but then I was like, okay, true, facts. Maybe it's still a synchronicity. Hey, I'll take it. Come through. Yeah. I just had a really interesting notification on my phone, if you're curious. So this is the Vagabond, 5 of Orbs, and the Hierophant. Excuse me, Holy Seed. This is the mountain over Earth, right? Yep, this is mountain over Earth. Mountain over Earth is number 23, partition. Have we gotten partition before? Yeah, because I remember saying, driver roll the partition, please. It was recent. Partition, split, and division. This is bold. The force at large is that of disintegration, of splitting. Dark undermines the light. Yin undermines the yang. However, it is not a direct means of overthrow. The inferior outnumber the superior. When you are outnumbered, respond with stillness and devotion to the mountain. Wisdom versus cowardice is often an issue of timing. Being the mountain for now is wisdom, not cowardice. It is not the right time to act. There are no advantages to proceeding in your endeavor. Rule a broad foundation and be generous and benevolent. So, as I was saying, sometimes we don't act. Here was one of those I Chings where it's about not necessarily action, it's about being the mountain. Now, this was kind of sort of the energy that is this, right? When it was about, now this said that it was auspicious to continue to proceed forward, but you're going to get a little bit of bruised and a little bit of battered and a little bit of beaten. If you can't handle the bruising and the battering, then you might be better off still, honestly. And the Seven of Wands would have been right here. It would have been right here. And that is the fighter. It's the dark horse. But the Six of Wands came out. So, you know. And so, again, it's like this could be first step and next step, but both of these energies are kind of sort of running concurrently. It's like this energy is running on the heart, this energy is running on the mind, and then there needs to be some middle ground. Queen of Pennies, the Ebony Shield, and since I'm looking for a middle ground, I just cut the decks over here. What card is this? It is the Three of Spades. A complete restructuring of home, a breathtaking sight that redefines beauty, and allowing one's soul to breathe. I've seen this card so many times. And then we got the Queen of Pentacles as this middle ground. So it really is about finding and creating that stability within the self, nurturing and caring for the self, and then allowing the energy to radiate outward. And so maybe that's why we don't necessarily have to focus on the collective as much as we do needing to stabilize the energy that we're in. Now, personally, I would still say that that doesn't mean ignore everything happening around you. But it's to observe it, see how we got to that position, try to find peace with it. And again, depending on what your role is right now, either you will be a change maker on the front lines doing something, or you would be one sort of maintaining and holding the frequency. Almost the eyes through which the spirit and the divine could observe everything, right? And both of the eyes of the world did come out because the priestess was right before the erudite. And it's like when we're in that space, then the divine can observe it all more directly with the eyes of non-judgment, but also with the knowing that things need to change. So we're going to find a message from the Dice Energy. I tried to do the... I'm so bad at this. I'll try it again. Let's see. See, there it is. And then I end up going through like every single card. Oh, the Ace of Hearts. We saw the Ace of Spades and the Ace of Clubs yesterday. Now the Ace of Hearts is coming out today. Ace of Hearts. One heart that beats as one. Ace of Hearts is upside down. Oh, we got a 444 on the Ace of Hearts. 93, 1, 10, 4, 4, and 4. Y'all see that 444? Y'all see that 444? And that's how the die are laid out. The dice. That's how the dice are laid out, if you're curious. It's almost that like wavy thing we had yesterday, almost. It says the energy that we send out is the energy that we receive, and the future is born in the heart. Oh, wow, I love that. The energy that we send out is the energy that we receive. The future is born in the heart. Now, in my mind, that's important because sometimes I feel we get, it's like the energy is a complete picture. It's not partial, right? So if you're bypassing or overlooking what is wrong or what needs to be righted, that's not going to that's not going to heal it. It's just bypassing it. And when you bypass what needs healing, typically it ends up in the realm of shadow because it festers when you sort of subject it to the dark. I mean, that is you putting it all in the dark when you look away from it. When you shine the light in a different direction, you're putting it right back in the realm of devil energy when it needs to come to the light and be purified. So if the energy that you're putting out is an energy of ignoring and bypassing and leaving things unresolved, then don't be surprised if you find yourself ignored, bypassed, and or if you find things in your life unresolved. Right? The energy that you send out is the energy that you receive. And if I'm not you, and I'm not, then I'm your environment. I am part of your universe. And if you are to ignore me, then the universe will also ignore you. And things have been kind of sort of running buck wild for a minute. I'm balancing all kinds of stuff. But if it's to rebalance and if it's to ascend to the level that everyone is saying that they want to go to, then ignoring and bypassing is not the solution. I mean, if it was, then all of our problems would be fixed. They wouldn't be coming to the surface. Oh, goodness. Oh, snap! Who was that? Who was you? The Six of Cups. When did the Six of Cups flip over? Hello? The Seven of Cups is with the Tower, and I love that energy. Both of them are sevens. And the Tower in this deck is about dispelling corruption, and the Seven of Cups is the corruptor. There's the Axe of Shiva. If y'all can see it. There you go. The Axe of Shiva that destroys that corruption. Give me one more card for the Six of Cups that was just randomly turned over in the deck for some reason. Because y'all know I like taking sheets, so there we go. Oh, well, this is a card that I initially thought it might have been. Apocalypse. We got the Memory Keeper and Apocalypse. Pepperidge Farms remembers. At the bottom of the deck is the Death card. So Transformation, the Memory Keeper, and Apocalypse. Now, on a personal level, Apocalypse with the Memory Keeper could be saying that it's okay. Just because I don't like the message don't mean I ain't gotta say it. I feel like it's more complicated than it sounds. But there is a certain, not necessarily forgetting, but there's a need to allow the past to be rewritten. There's a need to allow for past things to be corrected for. It's like it's like the energy of people who want an apology from somebody just to like tell them off or just to not accept the apology. Then it's like, okay, well, why do you want the apology? Because I want to know that I was right, or I want them to know that they were wrong, or because I want to go off, or because I wanted this, I wanted that. And it's like we kind of sort of got to let that go. There's some stuff that we're going to have to not bypass, not ignore, but allow to be healed if we are to move forward. Now, the changing of hearts and minds is interesting, especially when that healing isn't necessarily present, because it's like, have you ever apologized to someone and had a good streak of everything going right and you feel like maybe you had redeemed yourself, And then one day that person gets upset for whatever reason, and then they bring the past up, and you're like, wait, I thought we were over this. I mean, there could have been some stuff done on the collective memory. Speaking of like rewritten history, there can be any number of mind altering substances in anything. And that's what they say about fluoride in the water. I think I've seen that they say it makes people more passive or easy to control or whatever. Not whatever, but again, I didn't look into it too deeply. And then there's also the stuff about, what they put in the food. If you're not growing your own food, even if you are growing your own food, what are they putting in the soil? Right? What are they putting in the air? Right? Because even plants, they have the stoma that allow gases from the outside inside. And plants get, infected by viruses and bacteria too. But there is a need to allow for the past to become history. And I think that's what we primarily want. This is the sun in Scorpio and fire with apocalypse. So that could also be Pluto with judgment. Hey, that would make sense. Why would Pluto be judgment? I mean, Scorpio is the most fire of the water energies. It is Mars ruled. But Pluto being fire, purification. Okay. But yeah, that's I'm gonna read the I Ching still, but that's what I'm getting. It's like it's a need to kind of sort of let bygones be bygones after they've been corrected for. Because it's almost like it would be nearly impossible to move forward if that weren't the case. And again, there are going to be some people who experience things that are traumatic to the point where they can't necessarily just forgive, and move on. But I think we also need to sort of redefine our relationship with forgiveness and with what it means. Because I feel like sometimes people they'll be like, oh, so you're asking me to just let this person back into my life, pretend like nothing ever happened, and allow myself to be taken advantage of again? Like, no one's telling anybody to do that. But we also need to work out what forgiveness means for us. I feel like I've preached enough. I'm not necessarily a fan of being preachy. It may appear otherwise, but I am a huge fan of, people being decent people. So Thunder Over Wind is this one. Thunder Over Wind. Number 32, Endurance. That's the thing right now. And then I'm going to end this off. This was not really what I wanted, but that's fine. I think the answer is still in there somewhere. I just got to extrapolate or interpolate. Endurance and perpetuation. This is hung. Mutual assent when there is alliance. Internally, there must be constant movement. To be in a state of rest is to be in a state of decline and decay. Within you, the sage, you must pursue a constant state of transformation and change, though your outward demeanor should be one of conviction, firmness, and resolve. I'll read that again. Within you, the sage, if you are a sage, then within you, you must pursue a constant state of transformation and change, though your outward demeanor should be one of conviction, firmness, and resolve. That is how you will endure. Seek alliance to ensure longevity and endurance. The establishment and honor of institutions bring perpetuation. Now, are we perpetuating something good, or is we perpetuating something bad? Because endurance just means it's going to stick around for a minute. Endurance don't necessarily mean it's good or bad. And a lot of these systems have been perpetuating perfectly. perpetuating perfectly. But again, like we can pretty much admit that most of the systems or a lot of the systems, especially in the US, but in the world, are kind of sort of outdated, right? It's like we went through like a few revolutions since the birth of some of these countries and their laws. And like people talk about all the time about how current law doesn't really stack up to the new, or, at least within the past decade or two, how current law doesn't really stack up to sort of like the informational age and technology and what like happens on the internet, right? That's why now we have these things about protections about posting someone else's like pictures and like cyberbullying that leads to permanent decisions and stuff like that. It's like that evolution needs to happen. And I think that's why in the entry it said, we should be constantly evolving and progressing and transforming, even though on the outside we maintain the same conviction, right? If bad is bad, but this flavor of bad didn't exist 100 years ago, well, let's transform on the inside. Let's transform the way things work so that on the outside we can still say bad is bad, right? Not be like, oh, well, we don't have a law for this, so technically you're not breaking the law. Have a good day. It's like, okay, whatever. So anyway, I know that was a lot. I feel like by this point, everything collective is everything collective. So let's scale this back down to the self. We know that everything is emotion, everything is a movement. Things are constantly evolving and changing, right? And we know that we also, if we want more than what we have, and if we want a certain space in the world, we have to evolve and change with it. If we don't evolve and change with it, we'll get left behind. And we don't want to be left behind. So first, I guess we got to find some kind of something to be like, you got to have ethics and morals to kind of sort of have conviction. So maybe first do that, and then find something that you can sort of stand your ground on, and then make sure that you're doing the work to maintain environmentally, universally, globally relevant, right? And it isn't necessarily for us all to be like activists and frontline protesters and stuff like that. But I mean, if the age of Aquarius and if the 5D is something that you aspire to come into, you kind of sort of like, I feel like it comes with like a certain responsibility to be decent to other people and to care when other people are going through things. I feel like there's been enough apathy in the world, and that's kind of sort of how we got in the position that we're in right now. Because, people who are unaffected can't be bothered until they are affected, and then it's too late. I never thought it would happen to me. Certainly not me. It was fine when it was happening to everyone else, but to me, excuse me, I have privilege in this situation, so I'd like to get out of it, please. And it's like, oh, your privileges? Yeah. They've been revoked. The only person with privilege now is the person in charge. Oh, that was mean. But hey, it's like, if you were fine with it happening to everybody else, if you didn't care when it happened to anybody else, no one else should have to care about you. Why would they? Because it's you? No. The world, like the universe loves you, but the universe don't love you that much. And I ain't gonna say that they don't love you that much, but the universe understands that it is your path and it is your journey sometimes to have the hard lessons. When you make hard choices, sometimes you get hard lessons. Hard head make a soft butt is what they say. But I hope everyone's having a good whatever whenever you see this, and I hope you're acting in alignment to get everything that you want out of this life and more. Things are about to begin shifting and evolving and changing, really, or the process will be beginning. I feel like the energies are kind of sort of settling in. Um, and there is a bit of a calm amidst all of the chaos when we allow it to be what it is and to do what it is doing and to reveal and show what it needs to reveal and show. And within ourselves, we need to make the decision that, you know, the world that we live in shouldn't be one of inequity and atrocities and just blatant disregard of human life, right? So hold those frequencies because, you know, you're magnetic. And eventually, what you put out will come back. Bye.